Hello there. I've got some skirting board to fit. I've got an external angle, I've got an internal angle, I've got another internal angle. This is all going to be done by hand. I've got some skirting board which I bought from B&Q. For those of you not from the UK and you don't know what B&Q is, it's basically an overpriced DIY shop where everybody goes to get their stuff. It was raw wood when I got it, so I've painted it up with some undercoat and glossed it. And when I put it on, it's going to just need a bit of a touch up. Just to be clear, I'm not a builder, I'm a DIYer. I'm trying to save myself a bit of money. So redecorated everything, and I've put down some new tiles, and I need to finish it off with some skirting board. This is what I'm up against. There isn't a right angle in the place. But that's the same in most houses. It's something you just got to kind of accept. That's what it is, you know. You just use what you've got and go with it. So what tools are we going to use? A saw. Try not to have this too coarse, the cutting edge teeth, because you're going to end up ripping your fine skirting board to bits. It's going to look a right old mess. Tape measure, couple of pencils. I'm always losing them, so I have a spare. Some kind of right angled set square. If you haven't got one of them, you can always use the back of your saw to scribe a pencil mark. Some kind of sanding device, just a piece of sandpaper. I like these trowel type things. You could just wrap your sandpaper in a block of wood. Some kind of cutting implement. You want to sharpen your pencils because the end's going to break off at some point usually. And then some kind of angle finder. Now, these starrets are quite good. If you're using a chop saw, they're quite good. You sort it out and then you work it out where the angle is. And you just set your chop saw up to that. I'm not doing that today. I'm going to use this Trend Mitre Angle Finder, Trend Mitre Angle tool, whatever you want to call it. There's no thought process in this at all. As long as you've got the ability to stick this in the corner of the wall, you can work the rest out. It's really easy. It does all the work for you. I'll put some links in the description if you're interested in any of this sort of thing, if it helps you out. This will give you a good idea of what we're up against. The wall's kind of bowing that way where the plastering's been done, but we'll get over that. So what am I hoping to achieve? Well, doing this by hand, I'm hoping to get these mitre corners in within like 2 or 3 mil or ish, and I'll be quite happy with that. At the end of the day, it's white skirting board. I'm gonna run up any gaps with some sealer and smooth it over. It's then going to get painted up. No one's going to know any different anyway, so it doesn't have to be absolutely exact, and there's always going to be a bit of user error, a bit of marking error, maybe a bit of sawing error, so it's always going to give me a couple of mil out, which I'm not bothered about. If you're on a budget and you haven't got a chop saw, this is the route you're going to have to go down anyway, so you're going to have to expect it's not going to be perfect. I mean, if it is, good luck to you, but it may not be perfect, so you go with what you got, and at the end of the day it's going to look fine anyway once you painted over it. So how are we going to find our angle with this Trend? All you need to do is push it into the corner. With the angle now set, all we need to do is transfer that onto our skirting board. Before we get too carried away, what we'll do, we'll mark up on our wood direction that the angle is going to go at. Basically, our angles are going to be like that, so our angles are going to cut outwards. So if we mark it up now, we won't forget. As we got a pencil mark on the top, I've done the same on the bottom, just as a reminder of what direction I need to cut so I don't forget. With our angle already set, all we need to do is hold that on the back of the wood. So I can turn this around so you can see it. So that metal piece is flush up against the back of there. So from that, all we need to do is make a pencil mark, and that is our angle, just there. That's our cut line. And then, if we follow that cut line around, just onto the back of the wood, we get our right angle square, and then we draw a line down. That's all you need to do. Now I'm going to cut down there, and when I turn it around, that's going to give us our cut mitre angle. I'm going to repeat the process on the other piece of wood. I just made another mark and it was a bit close to the edge, so I thought I'd start again. We get our angle finder, press him up against the back of the wood. Draw a line. And then where that line comes out, just there, all we need to do is draw a straight line with our square. And that should give us the right angle of cut. The best way to cut this by hand with a saw is to score along there with your saw, and then you cut straight down at an angle. So you keep on that 90-degree angle line, and that should give you your mitre cut. Now I've brought my skirting board in, let's see how well it fits, or not, as the case may be. I'm very happy with that. As I said to you, if I could get within 2 or 3 mil, I'd be quite happy, and I can't see a problem with that at all. I nicked a bit out of wood because I was a bit rough with it, so I have to put a bit of filler in that. I'm not cutting it again. You can see that the mitre angle finder really does work, even allowing for cutting by hand. It's done a really good job. Just in case you were wondering and you was thinking, hang on a minute, he's got a gap on the right hand side there. He's lying to us. No, I'm not. That was that bowed out shape along the blooming wall. See if I can get a good picture for you. So it goes along there. It does join on the wall both ends. It's just that big bow I've got to deal with. There's nothing wrong with the cut, nothing wrong with the mitre angle at all. It's just the fact that this wall's a banana shape. Right, I thought I'd bring you back now. I've put in skirting board to there. There's my join, it does fit. It just bows out like a blooming banana. If I kick that in, then the other end comes out. I've got my join in there. Trust me, that does actually fit when it all gets pushed into the wall. And I've gone all the way under there, and then we just need to do this external one now. I'll show you how to do that. If you look at that corner there, it looks to be out, but once that's all pushed against the wall properly, and I'll probably have to put some plasterboard nails in, do you see what I mean? And then I'll push it all up, and then that gap will go. It's actually a really good fit. Welcome to Nightmare Corner. If I lift this skirting board up and slide this square under, you should be able to see how much we're out. Just on that tiny bit of wall, we're out like almost, what will be like, at least ½ an inch, maybe 3/4. That's a crazy amount. I've pre-cut a piece of wood to fit that corner. Obviously it's too long, but once I've got this angle, all I need to do is trim the back off. So what we're going to do is use our angle finder again and just press him up against the wall, and that automatically dissects the angle in half for us, so we can mark up our wood again exactly as we did before. Remember I said to you, make a mark in the direction that you're going to cut. I did that and I screwed it up. I did it the wrong way on the other side. So I've corrected that now. We're actually cutting this way. All you need to do then is take your mitre angle, careful not to adjust the angle in any way, and just hold it up against the back of the wood, and that gives you your angle to cut. It looks a bit messy there, but it'll be fine. Just get the set square in and do a straight line. Mark off the bits of wood that we don't want. We're all marked up and good to go. I know really I should be marking the front up and cutting along the line there rather than cutting through from the back, because I do get a little tiny bit of breakout, but I'm not overly bothered because it's easier for me to follow that line down there and across there than it would be on here. It's just my personal preference. I'm going to put some filler in here anyway, so I'm not overly bothered about a little tiny bit of breakout. It's not a problem. If you prefer to do it the other way, then that's absolutely fine. Now for the one we don't want to screw up. Make a mark in that direction just there. I've moved this all over so we've got a bit more room. We've marked it in that direction just there. What we need to do with this one is mark straight down. So that there, that line is the actual edge of the wall. So what we need to do, we need to make our mark, which is going away from that line. All we need to do is hold that on the back exactly the same, and we'll push it right up to that line. Come back just a millimetre or so. And now we've got our angle ready to cut. If we do cut this too short in any way, it's not the end of the world. Because what's going to happen is we're going to have to chop a piece out and add a piece in further along the board, maybe under the radiator to hide it. I'd rather get this right first time. I've cut him now, I've trimmed him off at the back, I've made a notch there for the back of the door sill. Let's put him in place and see what he looks like. As you can see from this, I'm a little tiny bit out. Remember I said to you at the beginning of this, I'm cutting it by hand and there's going to be a certain amount of tolerances and a certain amount of error. I can easily put a little bit of filler in there, it's no problem at all. And nobody will ever know, especially as this is all going to be white. So at the end of the day, considering this has been done by hand and a terrible angle of the wall, I think that's a very good result.
I hope this video has been useful to you. I've used this, it saved me a lot of pain and a lot of anguish trying to get the angles right. What I've done is not perfect, as I explained. There's a couple of mil of tolerance here and there. If it was done with a mitre saw, it'd probably be a little tiny bit more accurate. There's links in the description down below for tools like this if it's any use to you. If you've got any comments, feel free to leave them. Thanks for watching, see you next time.